Captain Ryland's boots clicked softly against the polished metal floor of the colony's central command tower. The air smelled faintly of ozone and recycled machinery, a constant reminder that they were not on Earth anymore. This was the planet Solaris 7, a frontier world that humanity had recently colonized, but it was anything but peaceful. Alien species with strange technologies roamed the nearby regions, and the colony had become a testing ground for human courage, skill, and adaptability. Ryland had never imagined he would be called here, not as a soldier, but as a human caught in a web of expectations. His mother-in-law, General Vera, was legendary across the colonies, not for kindness but for her strict discipline. She was a towering figure, an alien with scaled green skin and piercing golden eyes that could make anyone feel smaller. Though Ryland had married her daughter Lyra, he had never fully understood the force of her personality until now. "Ryland," a metallic voice called from the intercom, echoing across the empty hallway. "Report to the private training chamber immediately." He groaned quietly. Private training chamber? That usually meant one thing: Vera's so-called trial of courage. And Ryland had every intention of refusing it. Humans, he believed, were clever and adaptable, but these trials often pushed participants to the edge, testing limits that could be dangerous. When he reached the chamber, the large sliding door hissed open. Inside, the room was vast, with walls covered in glowing panels, holographic projectors in every corner, and strange alien machinery lining the floor. The air was heavy with anticipation. Vara stood in the center, her hands crossed behind her back. "Captain Ryland," she said, her voice both commanding and calm, "I have decided it is time for you to face your trial. You will participate willingly, or you will participate anyway." Ryland's jaw tightened. "General," he said carefully, "I respect your position, but I refuse. I don't believe this trial is necessary for me. I've completed every mission you've assigned. I've never failed in combat. Why should I be subjected to this?" Vara's eyes narrowed. "You underestimate this trial. Courage is not measured in past victories. It is measured in moments of pressure, when every choice counts. You will participate," Ryland shook his head. "I already proved myself, and I will not risk unnecessary danger." Without another word, Vera stepped to the side and pressed a glowing panel. The sliding doors of the chamber slammed shut with a resonating clang. A warning hum filled the room. Holographic projectors flickered, forming a massive arena of shifting lights and alien landscapes. "You see, Ryland," Vara said, her golden eyes gleaming, "refusal is not an option when the survival of this colony may depend on you one day. The trial begins now." The lights dimmed and suddenly the room transformed. Holographic alien creatures emerged from the walls, their forms shifting between beast-like predators and robotic hunters. They circled him silently, testing his nerves. Each creature moved unpredictably, forcing Ryland to focus, to analyze, to think faster than he ever had before. Ryland's heart pounded. He took a deep breath and activated his personal armor suit. Though lightweight, it was equipped with energy shields and mobility boosters. His training kicked in. He didn't panic. He observed. The creatures were programmed to respond to thought patterns and movement, meaning brute strength alone would not win this trial. As he moved through the chamber, Ryland realized he was being tested not just physically, but mentally. Holographic projections shifted into complex mazes, filled with traps that required sharp reasoning. Laser grids, false paths, and sudden drops challenged him at every turn. He quickly understood that improvisation, careful observation, and logical thinking would be his only allies. At one point, he reached a wide chasm with a narrow bridge suspended over a simulated lava flow. A massive alien predator appeared on the other side, its glowing eyes fixed on him. Ryland paused, weighing his options. If he charged forward, he risked being struck. If he waited, the bridge could collapse under its own weight, or the creature might attack faster than he expected. Instead, he noticed the bridge's support system had a slight vibration pattern. Timing his steps with the natural sway, he crossed silently, holding his breath as the predator lunged toward where he had been seconds earlier. He landed safely on the other side, feeling a surge of relief and confidence. Humans were small in the galaxy, but they were clever, inventive, and unafraid to take calculated risks. A sudden loud chime echoed through the chamber. The holographic landscape shifted again. Now Ryland found himself in a dense alien forest, where the shadows of enormous creatures loomed between glowing flora. In the distance, he could see the outline of other trainees struggling against the environment. Some were human like him, while others were aliens from different planets, all part of Vara's experiment. Rylan moved toward them cautiously. His instincts told him that working together could increase their chances of surviving, even though the trial emphasized individual skill. He quickly formed a small plan: observe the forest, identify hazards, and guide others using safe paths. Slowly, the humans and aliens began following his directions, trusting his judgment. Vara, watching from a remote control panel outside the main holographic simulation, frowned slightly. She had expected him to rely on brute force or reckless aggression, but Rylan's calm, analytical approach impressed her more than she wanted to admit. Perhaps humans had more potential than she had anticipated. Suddenly, a new challenge appeared. The forest floor opened beneath their feet, revealing a pit filled with holographic energy spikes. The trainees scrambled, but the spikes adapted to each person's movements, making it nearly impossible to avoid them. Rylan acted quickly. Using a combination of agility boosters and precise timing, he leapt across the pit, grabbing a narrow ledge and helping others follow his path. Every action he took was measured, careful, and effective. After what felt like hours, the forest simulation ended. The room's walls flickered back to their normal state, leaving only Rylan and the other trainees standing in the chamber. They were tired, sweaty, but victorious. Rylan breathed heavily, feeling a mixture of relief and pride. Vara's voice echoed in the chamber. "You survived the first phase," she said, her tone slightly softer than before. "You may have refused the trial initially, but you have shown the qualities I hoped to see. Courage, intelligence, and leadership." Rylan straightened his armor, nodding respectfully. "Thank you, General. I see now that this trial tests more than strength. It challenges thought, observation, and teamwork." Vara stepped forward, her eyes meeting his. "Indeed, but this is only the beginning. The next phase will be more challenging, testing not just your skill, but your ability to inspire and lead others under pressure. Refusal will not be tolerated again." Rylan understood that Vara's methods were extreme, but she had a point. The galaxy was full of dangers that humans had never faced before. And to survive, they would need more than weapons. They would need brains, courage, and the will to act when others froze. As the doors of the chamber opened, Rylan glanced at the group of trainees he had guided. They looked at him with new respect. For the first time, he felt the pride of a human leader, not because he followed orders blindly, but because he had proven that human ingenuity and courage could shine even in the most dangerous situations. Stepping out into the corridor, Rylan took a deep breath. Outside, the colony continued its bustling work, ships taking off, robotic workers maintaining infrastructure, and humans and aliens coexisting in a fragile, yet hopeful harmony. He knew that the trials ahead would be even tougher, but if the first phase had taught him anything, it was that humans had a spark, a resilience and cleverness that could surprise even the most experienced alien generals. And somewhere, deep in the command tower, General Vara allowed herself a rare, almost imperceptible smile. Perhaps this human, Rylan, could become the leader she had always hoped for. One who could unite humans and aliens alike against the threats lurking in the stars. The corridor of the command tower was quiet now, but Rylan could feel the weight of the trial pressing on him. Even though the first phase had ended, he knew it was only the beginning. General Vara's eyes had been sharp, almost calculating as she had watched him. Her warning still echoed in his mind. Refusal will not be tolerated again. Rylan adjusted his armor and glanced at the other trainees. There were 5 humans and 3 alien recruits, all staring at the chamber doors with a mix of exhaustion and apprehension. Though none of them had spoken much during the trial, the look in their eyes showed that they had begun to respect him. The sliding doors hissed open again, and a new voice came through the intercom. "Phase 2 begins. You will face challenges designed to test teamwork, strategy, and leadership. Fail, and the consequences will be severe." Rylan led the group forward, his mind already forming a plan. He knew the trial would not rely on strength alone. Observing, analyzing, and guiding others would be just as important. As they entered the next chamber, the floor beneath them shifted. Suddenly, they were standing on a vast metallic platform suspended above a seemingly endless void. Platforms floated in midair, some moving slowly, others spinning unpredictably. In the distance, Rylan could see multiple towering holographic figures, alien beasts that would respond to any misstep. "This is different from the first trial," one of the humans whispered, his voice shaky. "There's no forest here. Just this and those creatures," Rylan nodded. "Exactly. Watch your footing. Think before you move, and stay together." The first challenge was immediate. A massive robotic creature appeared on a nearby platform, its glowing eyes scanning for movement. It stepped forward, sending shock waves through the floating metal surfaces. Rylan quickly calculated the best path for the group, identifying platforms that were stable enough to reach the other side without falling. Using hand signals and calm commands, he directed the team. "Move slowly. Timing is critical. When I step, you step. Keep your balance." The group followed his lead, and for the first time he noticed how different species could work together when guided properly. One of the aliens, a four-armed creature with blue scales, used its extra limbs to stabilize the floating platforms. Another human carried a portable energy shield that absorbed shockwaves from the robotic creature. Step by step, they crossed the chasm, narrowly avoiding the attacks of the holographic beasts. Each movement required precision, and Rylan's mind worked rapidly, calculating trajectories, timing, and the safest routes. Suddenly, a platform beneath them began to tilt violently, threatening to throw the group into the void. Rylan grabbed the nearest human and pulled him towards safety, then shouted instructions to the others. "Use your balance points. Grab onto the rails. Adjust your weight." The trainees worked together, following Rylan's guidance. Even the alien recruits, initially wary of humans, relied on his judgment. Slowly but steadily, they reached the far side of the platform. The robotic creature froze, its programming apparently recognizing that the group had survived the first wave. "Good," Rylan muttered, allowing himself a small smile. "But this is far from over." Phase 2 intensified quickly. The room expanded into a simulation of a collapsing city, buildings falling around them, energy blasts streaking through the sky. The trainees had to navigate debris, rescue holographic civilians, and avoid hazards that could crush or trap them. The test was no longer just about survival. It was about leadership under pressure. Rylan took the lead, coordinating the group with clear, concise commands. "Lyra, guide the civilians to the safe zones. Jarek, create barriers with the energy shield. Everyone else, stay alert for falling debris." Despite the chaos, Rylan noticed something remarkable. The humans and aliens began working together seamlessly. Where one species might have struggled alone, the combination of human creativity and alien abilities allowed them to adapt quickly. Rylan felt a sense of pride. This was the potential General Vara had hoped to see, the spark of human ingenuity combined with cooperation across species. Midway through the city simulation, a massive holographic enemy appeared, a multi-limbed alien predator, larger and faster than anything they had faced before. It moved with terrifying speed, smashing obstacles and sending energy blasts toward the trainees. Rylan thought quickly. Charging at it would be suicidal. Instead, he studied its movement patterns, noticing that it paused slightly after each attack. Timing his actions with the creature's rhythm, he guided the group to attack in coordinated bursts. Jarek used the energy shield to block its blasts. The four-armed alien struck weak points on the creature, and the humans used quick strikes to disable its limbs. Step by step, the predator was weakened, finally dissolving into harmless holographic fragments. The group cheered quietly, but Rylan knew this was only a fraction of the challenge. The real lessons were still ahead: leadership, strategy, and the ability to inspire trust under pressure. As they moved forward, Rylan noticed a series of control panels. These panels controlled environmental hazards in the simulation, and one wrong move could trigger collapsing buildings or energy storms. He quickly divided the group into pairs, assigning them to monitor and manipulate the panels. "Communicate constantly," he instructed. "Don't act alone. Watch each other's back. If anyone makes a mistake, it could cost us." The trainees followed his orders with surprising efficiency. Even the aliens, who were initially skeptical of human leadership, listened and acted in perfect synchronization. The city's chaos became manageable because Rylan's plan allowed them to control the environment instead of being controlled by it. Hours seemed to pass within minutes. The simulation tested not just skill but endurance. Rylan encouraged the group continuously. "Stay focused. one step at a time. Remember, we survive together. By the time they reached the end of the city simulation, exhaustion was written on every face. Dust-covered armor, sweat-streaked foreheads, and shaky limbs told the story of a group pushed to their limits. Yet Rylan noticed something extraordinary: confidence. The trainees now trusted him. They trusted each other. They had learned that humans, when guided properly, could lead even the most diverse group through impossible challenges. A loud chime echoed through the chamber. The holographic city dissolved, leaving the group standing on the familiar metallic platform. The air was still and the silence was almost comforting. General Vara's voice came through the intercom, but this time it carried a hint of respect. "Captain Rylan, your leadership and strategy have exceeded my expectations. You have demonstrated not only skill, but the ability to inspire cooperation across species. Few humans could have achieved this." Rylan allowed himself a modest nod. "Thank you, General. I understand now that leadership is not about following orders blindly, but about guiding others through challenges with logic, courage, and trust." Vara's voice softened slightly. "Indeed, but the final phase will test your decision-making under the highest pressure imaginable. You will face scenarios where moral choices, quick thinking, and ingenuity will determine not only survival, but the fate of the colony. Refusal is no longer an option." The doors of the chamber opened, revealing a corridor lined with observation windows. Rylan and the team stepped out, feeling a mixture of relief and anticipation. Though Phase 2 had ended, the lessons they had learned were clear. Humans could be leaders, humans could inspire, and humans could survive challenges that even aliens found difficult. Rylan looked at the other trainees. "We've done well so far," he said quietly, "but the trial isn't over. The next challenge will be the hardest yet. We need to be ready, for strategy, for danger, and for decisions that could affect everyone here." The trainees nodded. For the first time, they truly felt like a team. Humans and aliens working together, guided by a human who refused to give up even when the odds were against them. Rylan took a deep breath and glanced at the stars beyond the command tower's windows. The galaxy was vast, full of unknown dangers and unimaginable wonders, and soon they would face challenges that would test every skill, every instinct, and every ounce of courage they possessed. But for now, Rylan allowed himself a quiet sense of pride. They had survived Phase 2. They had learned that intelligence, creativity, and teamwork were as powerful as any weapon, and he had proven that humans, though often underestimated, could rise to challenges that aliens had thought impossible. As the chamber doors closed behind them, Rylan knew that the final phase awaited. He also knew one undeniable truth: humanity had a spark, a fire, a cleverness that could surprise even the most experienced alien generals. And when that fire burned at its brightest, it could change the fate of entire colonies and maybe even the galaxy itself. The metallic doors of the command tower slid open with a hiss, revealing a new chamber unlike anything Rylan and the team had faced before. The air smelled faintly of charged energy, and a low hum vibrated through the floor. The walls seemed to stretch infinitely, displaying a panorama of distant stars and planets. This was no ordinary simulation. "Welcome to the final phase," General Vara's voice echoed across the chamber. "Here, you will face a combination of every trial you have encountered. Only true leadership, intelligence, and courage can guide your team to success." Rylan took a deep breath, feeling the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. Phase 3 was not just about surviving. It was about making decisions under pressure, where one wrong move could endanger everyone. He glanced at the team, humans and aliens alike, tired but determined. They trusted him now, and he would not let them down. The chamber shifted instantly. Holographic terrain expanded, forming a massive alien battlefield. Jagged cliffs rose on either side, while rivers of glowing energy flowed below. Towering alien predators roamed the plains, some resembling enormous beasts, others mechanical and strange. Drones hovered overhead, ready to attack anyone who strayed from the safe path. Rylan studied the environment carefully. "Listen," he said firmly. "This is not just about fighting. We need strategy. Observe, plan, and move as one. If we split up, we fail. Stick together, trust each other, and follow my lead." The team nodded. Lyra, his wife, gave him a reassuring glance. The four-armed alien nodded as well, its multiple eyes scanning the terrain. Rylan could feel the tension in the room, but he knew they were capable. Humans were clever. Aliens were strong and adaptable. Together they could survive anything. The first obstacle appeared suddenly, a massive chasm with energy storms raging across its surface. The team needed to cross, but the floating platforms moved unpredictably, some appearing and disappearing within seconds. One false step could send someone plummeting into the glowing void below. Rylan analyzed the timing carefully. "Watch the pattern," he instructed. "Step only when the platform stabilizes. Everyone follow my lead." They moved cautiously, Rylan leading the way. He noticed that the four-armed alien could hold two platforms steady while crossing, and the humans used mobility boosters to jump precisely from one to the next. Every step required focus and coordination. When a platform flickered, Rylan shouted, instructions guiding the team with clear, concise commands. Once across, the group encountered the next challenge, a maze of collapsing buildings and sudden energy blasts. Holographic civilians cried for help from behind falling debris. Rylan realized this trial was not only about survival, but also about responsibility. Protecting others while maintaining his team's safety would test every skill he had learned. "Split up," he said carefully. "Two humans with me to clear debris. Lyra, guide the civilians to safety. Four-armed alien, cover the flank. Keep your shields ready for energy blasts. Move quickly but stay aware of the environment." The team followed his orders, each member performing their role efficiently. Rylan led by example, lifting debris, calculating trajectories to avoid falling structures, and directing energy shields at incoming blasts. His mind worked rapidly, analyzing every danger, predicting every movement, and adjusting strategies in real time. Suddenly, a massive holographic predator leapt from a building, targeting one of the civilians. Without hesitation, Rylan grabbed the human trainee and pulled him to safety, then threw an energy net to trap the creature temporarily. The rest of the team followed suit, combining their skills to neutralize the threat. Vara watched silently from her control station, her golden eyes narrowed. Rylan's leadership was remarkable. He did not rely on brute strength or alien technology alone. He used his mind, his instincts, and his ability to inspire trust. She had seen many humans fail under pressure, but Rylan was proving that humanity could rise above expectation. As the team progressed, the trial intensified. Holographic enemies adapted to their strategies, forcing them to improvise constantly. The terrain shifted unexpectedly and new hazards appeared. Energy storms that could disable shields, collapsing structures that required split-second decisions, and traps that tested every member's reflexes. Rylan's calm, decisive leadership kept the team focused. "Observe the patterns," he shouted over the chaos. "Anticipate, don't react, trust each other, and communicate." Even in the midst of danger, he noticed moments of ingenuity. One of the humans rigged a portable shield to deflect multiple energy blasts at once. The four-armed alien used its limbs to stabilize structures, creating safe paths where none existed. Lyra coordinated the civilians, guiding them through the chaos with precision. Hours seemed to pass in minutes as the team navigated the battlefield. Each challenge pushed them to their limits, but Rylan never wavered. He encouraged, guided, and protected, proving that human leadership could match and even surpass alien expectations. Finally, they reached the center of the simulation, a massive glowing crystal suspended in midair, protected by the largest predator yet. The trial demanded that they secure the crystal without harm to the team or civilians. This was the ultimate test of strategy, coordination, and courage. Rylan studied the creature carefully. It moved in predictable bursts, leaving brief windows of opportunity. "We cannot fight it directly," he said. "We need to distract it while securing the crystal. Jarek, create a barrier with the energy shield. Lyra, guide the civilians out. Four-armed alien, follow me. We will move in together." The plan unfolded perfectly. Jarek held the shield, absorbing energy attacks while Lyra safely led the civilians away. Rylan and the four-armed alien maneuvered through the Predator's blind spots, reaching the crystal. Using precise coordination, they activated the containment field, securing the crystal safely. The Predator roared holographically, but it dissolved harmlessly once the crystal was secured. The team had succeeded. Exhausted, but triumphant, they stood together, their faces streaked with sweat and grime, hearts pounding from the intensity of the trial. A chime echoed through the chamber. The holographic battlefield dissolved, leaving only the metallic platform. The lights dimmed, and a calm silence settled over the group. Vara's voice came again, this time carrying unmistakable respect. "Captain Rylan, your performance has surpassed all expectations. You have demonstrated intelligence, courage, leadership, and the ability to inspire trust across species. You have shown that humans, often underestimated, possess qualities that can shape the future of this colony and beyond." Rylan allowed himself a small smile. "Thank you, General. I've learned that leadership is more than following orders. It is about observing, analyzing, and guiding others through challenges, while keeping everyone safe." Vara's golden eyes softened slightly. "Indeed. The final judgment will be given in the debriefing chamber. Prepare yourselves. You have proven your worth, but even greater responsibilities await outside these walls." As the team exited the chamber, Rylan noticed the difference in everyone. Confidence radiated from the trainees. Humans and aliens alike had learned to trust, to cooperate, and to rely on one another. Rylan felt a deep sense of pride, not for himself alone, but for the team he had led. They walked through the corridor, in silence for a few moments, each processing the intensity of the trial. Finally, Lyra spoke softly. "Rylan, you were amazing. I knew you could do it, but seeing you lead like that, it was incredible." Rylan nodded, his gaze forward. "It wasn't just me. Everyone contributed. Every life mattered. That's the lesson. If we work together, we can survive anything, even the dangers of the galaxy." He paused, glancing at the stars visible through the observation windows. The galaxy stretched endlessly before them, full of unknown threats, but also endless possibilities. Humanity had a spark, a cleverness, a courage, and a resourcefulness that could turn the tide in the most impossible situations. Vara, observing from her control station, allowed herself another rare expression, a small, approving nod. Perhaps she had underestimated humans, or perhaps she had expected less. Either way, Rylan had proven that courage, intellect, and leadership were not bound by species. Humans, when given the chance, could rise to meet challenges that even the most experienced aliens found daunting. Rylan turned to the team. "We've done well so far," he said, voice firm but calm. "But the trial isn't over. We've proven that humans and aliens can work together. Now we need to take everything we've learned and be ready for the final challenge, the one that will determine our place in this colony and the galaxy beyond." The team nodded in agreement. For the first time, they truly felt like a unit, not just individuals, but a group capable of facing any danger, guided by intelligence, courage, and trust. Rylan allowed himself a moment of reflection. The trials had been designed to push them to their limits, but he had discovered something even more valuable: the human spirit, the ability to adapt, to think, to inspire, and to survive against impossible odds. And as they moved toward the debriefing chamber, preparing for the final phase, Rylan knew one undeniable truth: humanity had the spark to shine brightly, even in the darkest corners of the galaxy. The debriefing chamber was silent yet heavy with anticipation. The metallic walls reflected the faint glow of distant stars outside, giving the space an almost sacred feel. Rylan and his team entered exhausted but resolute, their armor scratched and dusty from the trials. General Vara stood at the center, her imposing figure commanding immediate attention. "You have passed the first 3 phases," Vara said, her voice calm but intense. "But the final phase is more than a test of skill. It is a test of judgment, courage, and the ability to make decisions that will affect not only yourselves but the future of this colony." Rylan nodded, already preparing mentally for whatever challenge lay ahead. The team followed closely, trusting his judgment, their confidence bolstered by the previous trials. Humans and aliens alike had learned to work together, and now they would face the ultimate test. Without warning, the chamber's floor shifted. The walls dissolved into a holographic projection of an alien war zone. Unlike previous trials, this simulation was chaotic, combining every danger they had faced so far: collapsing buildings, raging energy rivers, and monstrous predators. But now the stakes felt higher. In the simulation, holographic civilians cried for help, trapped in situations where a single wrong move could mean virtual death. "Remember," Rylan shouted over the roar of the simulated environment, "this is about leadership, not just survival. Every decision counts. We cannot hesitate. Protect the civilians, safeguard our team, and adapt to every change." The team sprang into action. Lyra guided civilians to safe zones using her quick thinking to navigate the hazards. Jarek and the four-armed alien created protective barriers, diverting energy blasts and stabilizing platforms. Rylan moved strategically, analyzing the battlefield in real time, predicting the movements of the holographic predators, and calculating the safest routes for the team. A sudden explosion sent debris flying toward the team. Rylan reacted instinctively, grabbing a trainee and pulling him out of harm's way. He activated his armor's energy shield, deflecting another blast aimed at a group of civilians. Every action had to be precise, every choice calculated. One mistake could compromise the entire mission. As they advanced, a massive predator appeared, larger and faster than any they had faced before. It roared, shaking the ground with its immense weight. The creature moved with uncanny intelligence, forcing the team to adapt quickly. Rylan observed its pattern. "It attacks in bursts," he called out. "Use the environment. Lead it into the collapsing buildings, but keep the civilians safe. Focus your energy only when necessary." The team executed his plan perfectly. Using coordination and timing, they maneuvered the predator into a collapsing structure. The creature was trapped temporarily, giving the team a brief window to advance. The civilians followed Rylan's instructions, moving swiftly and safely under his guidance. Suddenly, a critical moment arrived. One of the floating platforms beneath the civilians began to collapse. Without hesitation, Rylan leapt onto the unstable surface, stabilizing it with his armor boosters while signaling the civilians to move quickly. The ground shook violently, and he felt the platform give way slightly, but he held firm. Every member of the team followed, and all civilians reached safety. Vara watched silently, her golden eyes narrowing with a mixture of approval and calculation. Rylan's leadership was exemplary. He did not rely solely on strength or technology. He relied on observation, strategy, and the ability to inspire trust. This was the quality she had hoped to find in humans, the courage to act wisely under pressure. The simulation intensified further. A sudden energy storm erupted, sending bolts of electricity across the battlefield. Buildings collapsed, new predators appeared, and the holographic civilians were scattered across the terrain. Rylan had to make quick decisions, balancing risk and reward. "Divide and cover," he shouted. "Two humans with me to secure the civilians on the left. Lyra, take the right flank. Four-armed alien, watch the center and neutralize any threats." The team moved like a single organism, each member trusting the others to perform their roles. Rylan guided them carefully, calculating each movement to minimize risk. He realized that the true test was not just survival, but the ability to inspire confidence and trust under extreme pressure. A massive predator leapt from above, targeting the team's center. Rylan acted quickly, using a combination of energy pulses and precise maneuvers to deflect its attack. The four-armed alien followed his lead, striking the creature's vulnerable points. The predator staggered, giving the team an opening to secure the civilians trapped nearby. Hours seemed to pass within moments. The intensity of the trial tested their endurance, but Rylan remained focused. He encouraged the team, providing clear, calm instructions even in the most chaotic moments. "Keep moving. Watch each other's backs. Every action matters." Finally, the team reached the core of the simulation, a massive energy crystal suspended above a glowing chasm. The final challenge required them to secure the crystal without harm to the civilians or themselves. This was the ultimate test of strategy, leadership, and courage. Rylan studied the crystal carefully. The approach was treacherous, surrounded by energy blasts and unstable platforms. One misstep could endanger everyone. He formulated a plan, assigning roles with precision. I'll go first to stabilize the platform. Lyra, guide the civilians around the edges. Four-armed alien, cover the flanks. Yarek, watch for energy surges. Move with me step by step. The team executed the plan flawlessly. Rylan led them across the unstable platforms, timing their movements with the energy pulses. Lyra guided the civilians carefully, while Jarek's shields absorbed the remaining energy blasts. The four-armed alien struck obstacles and neutralized threats along the way. When they reached the crystal, Rylan activated the containment field, securing it safely. The holographic predators roared but dissolved harmlessly once the crystal was stabilized. The team had succeeded. Exhausted but triumphant, they stood together, their faces reflecting both relief and pride. A chime echoed through the chamber. The simulation dissolved, leaving only the metallic platform. The room returned to calm silence. Vara entered, her golden eyes meeting Rylan's. For the first time, a faint smile appeared on her usually stern face. "You have passed the final phase," she said. "Captain Rylan, you have demonstrated intelligence, courage, leadership, and the ability to inspire trust across species. You have proven that humans, often underestimated, possess qualities that can influence the future of this colony and the galaxy." Rylan nodded, feeling the weight of her words. "Thank you, General. I've learned that leadership is not just about giving orders. It's about observing, analyzing, and guiding others to succeed together. Courage alone is not enough. Trust, strategy, and cooperation matter just as much." Vera's voice softened slightly. "Indeed, you have exceeded every expectation. The final lesson is clear. Humanity, when guided and allowed to shine, can rise to challenges that even the most experienced aliens might struggle to face. Remember this, Captain Rylan. Humanity's strength is not in its size or technology, but in its spirit." Rylan looked at his team. Humans and aliens alike were tired, battered, but glowing with newfound confidence. They had faced impossible odds and emerged victorious, guided by trust, ingenuity, and courage. The final debriefing concluded, and the chamber doors opened to the main corridor of the command tower. Rylan stepped forward, taking a deep breath of the recycled air. Outside, the colony was alive with activity. Ships landing and taking off, robotic systems maintaining infrastructure, humans and aliens coexisting in careful balance. Lyra walked beside him, her expression proud. "Rylan," she said softly, "you didn't just survive. You led, inspired, and protected. Everyone saw it. You proved that humans can be more than what others expect." Rylan smiled, looking at the stars beyond the tower. The galaxy stretched endlessly, full of challenges and dangers, but also opportunity. Humans had a spark, a courage, ingenuity, and resilience that could make them more than just survivors. They could be leaders, innovators, and protectors of the future. Vara approached him, her expression serious but approving. "Captain Rylan, you have earned not just my respect but the trust of this colony. Remember that the galaxy is full of unknown threats, but with leaders like you, humanity will be ready. Your courage and intelligence have proven that humans are capable of greatness." Rylan bowed slightly. "Thank you, General. I will continue to lead by example, to guide others, and to ensure that humanity's spirit remains strong." As he walked toward the exit with his team, Rylan reflected on the trials. They had been difficult, testing every skill, instinct, and decision. But they had also revealed the truth about humanity, that even in the face of overwhelming odds, humans could rise to challenges, adapt, and succeed where others might fail. The galaxy awaited, full of mysteries and dangers. But Rylan knew this. Humans had the courage to face anything, the intelligence to overcome the impossible, and the spirit to inspire others. And with that, the trials had not just tested him, they had shown the universe what humanity could achieve. And for the first time, Rylan felt not fear or doubt, but pride. Pride in himself, in his team, and in the boundless potential of humanity.